It's easy to sum it up when you just talk about practice. We sitting here, I'm supposed to be the franchise player, and we're in here talking about practice. I mean, listen, we talking about practice. Not a game, not a game, not a game. We talking about practice. Not a game. Not the game that I go out there and die for and play every game like it's my last. Not the game. We talking about practice, man.
Accountant? We really talking about an accountant? What's good, all my stock market homies? It's your boy Kevin, and in today's video we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to be looking at Allen Iverson, one of the most transcendent basketball players to ever play the game. He literally changed the way the game of basketball is played forever. He made more than $200 million in his NBA playing days, but yet he found a way to spend it all, and he's now broke. We're going to be looking at how Allen Iverson burnt through every single penny of his money, the stupid decisions that he made that led him to blow through $200 million. And I'm going to tell you guys what I would have done, what I would have invested that $200 million into, and how much it would be worth today. This is part one of a new series that I want to do on the channel called Broke. Going broke even though you've made tons of money. This is a prime example of showing that it doesn't matter how much money you make. What matters is that you invest and you are smart with your money and you make smart financial decisions. Doesn't matter if you make $200 million like Allen Iverson, you can still go broke. You know what's not a stupid decision? That would be signing up with M1 Finance, because they're gonna give you $30 for free if you sign up with the link in the description. M1 Finance is an awesome broker, an awesome long-term investing platform that allows you to make these pies similar to like your own ETF, and it automatically disperses your money into the stocks that you like and see long-term growth potential in. Check out M1 Finance, link in the description. Allen Iverson grew up poor in Hampton, Virginia. It was obvious that Allen Iverson was going to be a skilled basketball player even in his youth. He dominated on the court, and his skills on the basketball court led him to get a full scholarship at Georgetown, one of the most prestigious basketball universities of all time. He dominated in college, and his domination led him to become the #1 overall pick in the 1996 NBA draft. Everybody knows that when you're drafted #1 overall, that's a big deal, and you're about to get loaded, filthy rich. And that happened with Allen. Allen made a ton of money in his playing days. It is said that he made over $155 million just from signing contracts alone. So the NBA teams that he played for, primarily the Philadelphia 76ers, paid Allen Iverson $155 million. Yet, he still made more money. He made more than $50 million from endorsements from companies like Reebok. Allen Iverson had his own Reebok shoe, and I must say it was fire, and I owned it myself. Let's talk about some of these stupid financial decisions that Allen Iverson made that led him to lose every single penny of his money. So over the course of Iverson's career, he earned a staggering $200 million, $155 million from his salary, and another $40 to $50 million from endorsements. He allegedly traveled with an entourage of as many as 50 people. I don't care how good of a friend they are to me. If you ain't carrying your weight, I'm not bringing you. Sure, have your friends around, take them to a nice dinner, but when you're spending that kind of money, it just gets stupid. He showered his friends and family, especially his mother, with cars and jewelry, houses, and expensive vacations. You don't go broke when you're making that kind of money from buying your mama a house. This is the home that Allen Iverson grew up in, so it's not a shock to me that he would want to get his mom out of that house into a better situation, and there's nothing wrong with that. That is not a bad financial decision. If Allen Iverson had just stuck to buying houses and getting a real estate portfolio under his belt, he would be well off today. But the amount of stupid decisions he made financially is crazy. Look at some of this stuff that Allen Iverson was doing. Allen's financial situation came to light in 2012 after a judge ordered him to pay $900,000 Georgia jeweler, but apparently Iverson did not have the funds to cut the check. So you're buying almost $1 million worth of jewelry, which is stupid in itself because you know it's going to be those iced out watches and necklaces that don't hold their value. So you're buying $1 million worth of stones or necklaces or watches, and you don't even have any money. In December 2012, a court filing showed that Iverson told a judge in Georgia that his monthly income was $62,000, but his monthly expenses were $360,000. This is a prime example of not living in your means. I worked as a waiter for like 6-7 years. I was only making $60,000 a year, but every single year I was still saving $20,000 and investing that money because I know that one day I'm going to need that money, and if you don't put your money to work for you, this is what happens. He was spending $125,000 paying back various creditors and mortgages. So he was taking out loans even though he had made $150 million, $200 million, $10,000 on clothes, $10,000 on restaurants and entertainment, and $10,000 on groceries. Who the hell was he feeding with 10 grand a month on groceries? Listen to this stupidity. He apparently had a habit of keeping his money in dozens and dozens of garbage bags around his mansion. Some would occasionally go missing. I wonder who that was. He had a big entourage of friends who would follow him around, and his garbage bag full of money goes missing. I wonder who did that. At one point in his career, he arrived back at an airport and had forgotten where he had parked his car, so apparently he ditched the car and bought a new one. How genius is that? And you know it was a nice car, and it just sat at the airport until it got towed away. First thing that I would have done is I would have taken $50 million of that money and just thrown it in a very safe index fund and let it work for me. So you put $50 million in the index fund. Let's say you get an average return of 8%. You're still making buku money that you can live off of. If he had put $50 million into the S&P 500, okay, and he got an average return of 8%, we don't need any crazy returns at that point because we have such a big amount of money in the stock market. We just need the average market return and we're set forever. That would bring him back, just in interest alone, $4 million annually. You can live off of that, and we'll talk about that more in just a second, or you could reinvest it. I would then buy this house for about $6 million. This would be my primary residence. I'm looking at a house in Philadelphia because that's where he played most of his career. So that's $6 million. We've already invested $50 million into the stock market. So the next thing I would do is I'd find my mama a nice little house. Let's say a nice little condo. There goes another $1 million. So you're at $57 million gone. We're still talking about having $43 million left to play with. Out of that $43 million, if I was Allen Iverson's accountant, I would allow him a stipend that would probably equate to $10 million for whatever he wants. Does he want jewelry? Does he want to blow it on strippers at the local club? Make it rain? Whatever he wants to do, but that number is capped at $10 million. If he comes back to me and says, I blew all my money on Cinnamon, my favorite stripper, I'm sorry, Allen, but we need this money. We need to invest it because you're going to need it after your playing days are over. After that, after he gets his play money, we have $33 million left. That would be invested in different stuff like bonds, low risk bonds, municipal bonds. Let's say we'll put $10 million in municipal bonds, which will give you a very low interest rate, probably barely beating inflation, but at least you know that money's there if anything crazy happens. And then that would leave us $20 million, let's say, and then I would invest that all into real estate. I would buy $100,000, $200,000 single family homes with the remaining $20 million. And then I would hire a property manager to manage all that stuff so I didn't have to worry about it. They would collect the rent. They would deal with evictions. They would deal with all the nonsense that would come with owning 100 rental properties. Or you could just buy a multifamily apartment complex with that $20 million. But I think the cash flow would be better with the single family homes and hiring a property management company to do all the stuff for you. So let's run through this real quick and break down the numbers. All right, so we put $50 million into stocks. If he had done that in his playing days and just steadily added money to a stock market low risk index fund, that would have more than 3x or more than 300%. It would be worth more than $150 million today, and he could be drawing on that every single month just to live off of, and he would not have to touch any of this other stuff. We would put $7 million into 2 primary residences, one that he lives in and one that his mama lives in. $10 million in play money, whatever he wants to buy with it, strippers, clothes, watches, whatever. $10 million, but that's it. You can't touch it once you go past that number, unless you want to use the money that you're drawing off the stocks, the annual interest rate, to buy stuff with your play money. $10 million goes into low-risk bonds, and $20 million would go into real estate investments. Maybe it would be single-family rental properties, and you hire a property management company, or maybe you buy a big apartment complex, just one-stop shop, and just hit it all with one apartment complex. Either way, the amount of money that he was blowing was crazy, and it's just amazing to me these guys can go making that much money in their career. We're talking about $200 million, $100 million after taxes. That is insane. And if he had played his cards right, that $100 million could be $400 million today, because the housing market has done so well and the stock market has done very well during that time frame. But Reebok has came to his rescue. That Reebok shoe that he did is going to save him financially. In 2001, Iverson made a decision that would inevitably save him from his future self. He signed a very unique endorsement deal with Reebok, which is going to pay him $800,000 a year for the rest of his life, and set aside $32 million in a trust fund that Allen will not be able to access until he turns 55. However, the deal came to light when his ex-wife filed for divorce, so she's going to get half, even though you wasn't with me shooting in the gym. She wasn't with him shooting in the gym, but she's going to get half to add insult to injury. So he's going to have 32 divided by 2, $16 million of that deal he's going to get when he turns 55, plus $400,000 a year for the rest of his life, in her life, I imagine. So he's going to end up probably being all right. Hopefully he's learned his lesson that he needs to invest that money into some safe index funds, buy a little real estate, make a nice real estate investment. But that just shows no matter how much money you make, if you're stupid with it, you blow it on dumb things that don't hold their value, you will go broke. If you guys liked part 1 of this series, make sure you do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and get your $30 free from M1 Finance, a good broker, great long-term broker. Check them out. Catch you guys in the next one. Until next time, peace.